number, utility statements, insurance statements, junk mail, or balance transfer checks. If you have any of those, you know what you need to do with them? This. You need to shred them. And you shouldn't just shred them with an old school shredder that does strips or little tiny cuts. You need what's called micro cuts. It'll turn all of this sensitive information into literally confetti. And once that confetti has been created, nobody, and I mean nobody, is piecing it back together. We're going to welcome back Craig Smith. He is here today with several electronic items. Good to have you back, sir.
Always good to see you, Dave.
Always good to see you, buddy. I have a shredder in my home. I use it every time I come from the mailbox because we all get an unbelievable amount of junk mail. Or you've got an old credit card that has expired, but you know what hasn't expired? The number. Maybe the date's expired, but the number hasn't. Have canceled checks? Then absolutely you want to go shred through all those. School transcripts, anything with your personal information on it. And I'll tell you, for less than $99 and 5 payments on your credit card, this is going to be an important thing to have, because you know what happens to your trash when you put it on the curb? It becomes open season.
Free game.
Anybody can go through your trash, and that's allowed because it's on the curb. It's not on your property in most cases. So this is why you want to protect yourself. Craig, this is an amazing machine, but can you take us through the history of shredding?
Sure, and that's why we have these 3 canisters right here in front. So when people start to get paper shredders either in their office or at home, let's say back in the 70s or 80s, this is the kind of technology that we had. It was a very simple shred. It was what's called strip cut. So you would cut an individual piece of paper into strips, and that would do an okay job of getting rid of your information, but you could still read certain stuff. A lot of shredders that are still on the market today, David, are what they call cross-cut. So we're cutting in multiple directions. This is better. This turns an individual piece of paper into hundreds of little itty-bitty pieces. But what Royal does, the shredder we have here today, a company that's been around since the early 1900s, they do what's called micro-cut. So now an individual piece of paper is being turned into over 1,000 itty-bitty pieces. So think of the information that you're throwing out into your trash. Does it have your kids' medical information on there? Are those college transcripts there? How about your bills? How about anything the bad guys can use to steal your identity or learn things about you that you don't want to share with the world? When you micro-cut it, turn it, pulverizing it into these itty-bitty pieces, that's a great way to protect your information before you put that trash out on the curb.
And I'll tell you, anything that has your address on it, once it leaves your home in a garbage bag, do you think those garbage bags are made of kryptonite? No.
No.
People rip those open, they grab out mail. Now someone has your name, your home address. If you've thrown away any other sensitive information, like, for example, I don't know, credit card information, bank account numbers, medical information, all these kinds of things are information that someone can use to get close to you or to steal your identity. This is why having a shredder just makes great sense. I leave mine plugged in right beside my waste bin in my kitchen. So when I come in with a great big stack of junk mail and credit card offers and balance transfer checks, don't ever do those checks, P.S. And by the way, the interest rates are astronomical. What you want to do is shred them up. Shred those up. After, 7 years you can dispose of tax
For your
information?
taxes, yes. 7 years you have to hold on to that information. But most of us, David, we just get in the habit of, let's add another thing into the file. Until finally we reach that moment we want to throw stuff away. And I understand it. You get your mail, you've got a lot of things going on. What a lot of people do is they just take whatever that sensitive information and they think this is going to solve the problem. It's a habit that so many of us get into. I like to compare shredding to antivirus on your computer. All of us have antivirus on your computer. If you're surfing online, you don't want to hand out all that digital information to the world. Well, this is the same type of thing that we're looking at here, but in the real world, you talked about it. In a lot of townships throughout the country, once you take your trash and put it on the curb, anybody can walk by and take it. It's completely legal in a lot of townships. You put it through a micro shredder. Good luck to the bad guy finding the Social Security number. Good luck for the bad guy to get that information about your kids, whether it's their grades for the end of the year or it's a permission form that came back to your house with their Social Security number on.
How many of you sign a permission slip for school and send it back to your kids and then they bring it home after the teacher's seen it?
And you simply throw it away.
And you throw it away. It's got your signature on it. Would your signature be valuable to an identity thief? You bet it would be. Because all they have to do is put another piece of paper over top of it and trace your signature.
Yeah.
And then suddenly your signature looks very similar. These are the kinds of things you want to just be careful about. Now, is every single thing you throw away a problem? Well, you know what? I don't ever worry about it because I shred it all.
If there's any information at all, get rid of it.
It's really, really important to do that. And tax forms, credit card numbers. One thing Craig mentions every time we present this is your your hotel swipe card. Now, I was in Chapel Hill last weekend for my college reunion. I stayed in the hotel on campus, and they gave you one of those swipe cards. Ordinarily, I just leave that in the hotel room when I check out.
Why take the chance?
I didn't. This time, I took it with me, brought it home, disposed of it in my shredder. I just tucked it in my carry-on bag. And then that way, when I got home, when I was unpacking, I went right over to my shredder, boom, popped it right through, because I remember what Craig said. Because you know what's on that hotel card? All your personal information. And if somebody knows or has a reader for one of those cards, they can harvest all that information. How about airline tickets? That usually has your credit card number on it.
Store loyalty cards is another big one that people are using nowadays. Anything that's going to hold your information is really something that you don't want to share with the world.
Even heavier card stock. Look at this.
Well, this one we have right here, the MC12X. The MC stands for 12 sheets at a time. So we can take up to 12 sheets. That's some thicker card stock. It's going to blast right through there. But the MC stands for that micro cut, the 12 up to 12 pieces at a time. And you also have this little viewing window here as well, so you can kind of tell. You pull that out, David. You can see what we've been shredding throughout the course of this presentation.
Look at what there we are. Yeah, look what we've already shredded.
Could you get a social security number off of that? Are you going to put that credit card back together in there? Yeah, that's confetti now. And that's the stuff the bad guys are not going to waste their time going through, because they're going to go to the next house or they're going to go to the next block and try to get the easy information. That's what they're looking for, the easy way out. When you micro-cut that, you know what? You got confetti, you can have a party, you have a good time. But the most important thing is that your personal information is shredded away. The bin that you're holding right there, David, that's the bin that you're going to get with this micro-cut shredder.
Yeah.
But I have a clear bin here. We had this custom made just to kind of show people what an actual...
see what happens when it goes through.
You can see. So you're not going to see this. But what you'll notice is that I take these pieces of paper, I got about 4 or 5 of them here, and I'm going to stick them through the micro-cut shredder, and look at what these pages turn into. All of a sudden...
Snow!
Yeah, it's spring, but it's snowing again here in Westchester, Pennsylvania. We're just pulverizing all those pieces of paper. One sheet, just one sheet like this, gets turned into over 1,000 itty-bitty pieces with a micro-cut shredder, and now you know the ATM receipt. The medical information. How much
gas credit card receipt.
The gas credit card. How much information you get from the pharmacy when they give you your script? It usually comes with 3 or 4 pages that describes everything about that medication. You don't want to share with the world what medicines you may be on or anything about your personal life. You don't want to share?
You know what?
Shredder.
I'll go ahead and tell you, because I'm not worried about it. I have acid reflux. I take a medication for acid reflux. When I get my refill, I don't take the label off my medicine bottles for no reason. I take it out there because I don't want people to know the name of my doctor, my prescription number. Do you know that your prescription labels also have your home address on them?
Yes, they do.
And they have your doctor's name and phone number. All this kind of information. So you know what I do with that? I peel, because those peel off pretty easily. I peel that off and put it on a piece of junk mail, and I send it through my shredder.
Send it through that shredder.
Yeah,
this has that nice wide mouth, again, taking up to 12 pages at a time. And look at the confetti we're creating here. I'm just stuffing page after page after page.
Let me tell you, we've already taken orders for 300 of these. Let me also ask you this question. If your identity is stolen, who has to pay to get it repaired? You do. Because you know what? Until you can prove that someone's done it, and it's almost impossible to prove unless you catch somebody or they do something stupid. And even then, try getting money out of them. There's a reason they steal identities. They don't have money. That's why they steal other people's identity, to get money. So if your identity is stolen, it is your financial responsibility to fix it. And it's not an inexpensive proposition. You many times have to hire an attorney. You have to do all those other things to try to get all that repaired. Why take the chance when for $99 you can get out ahead of it? You can buy yourself a little peace of mind. Now, buying the shredder is only half the story. The other half is actually shredding your sensitive documents.
Yeah, you definitely have to get rid of it. The nice fact is this has the caster wheels on the bottom as well. So wherever you want to put this, I have my shredder in my office and I roll it underneath the desk, because it's not something you're going to use every single day, but maybe once a month, maybe every couple of weeks, whatever it is. That's when you want to be able to shred your information and get rid of a whole bunch of stuff at one time. Also with the micro cut, the advantage of that too, David, because it's cutting into smaller pieces, it's not going to take up as much space in this 5 1/4 gallon drum. So if we were using cross cut or we were using strip cut, what would happen is this drum would fill up substantially faster. It would not fill up as fast because we're micro cutting it, really pulverizing all that information in there. Again, canceled checks, anything at all that's going to have name, address, phone number, social security number.
School transcripts, used airline tickets, documents that contain your social security number, your maiden name, PIN numbers, passwords, email addresses, phone numbers, driver's license numbers. How many of you would write your social security number on 10 sheets of paper and drive down a highway at 60 miles an hour and throw it out the window? Well, anybody who's smart wouldn't do that.
No, that's not a good idea.
Yeah, so if you throw it on the curb, you might as well be just littering the highway with all your personal information because someone's going to get it. And people make it their business. If they don't steal it out of the trash bags on your curb, they're going to wait till it gets to the landfill. Or they're going to find it somewhere in a holding facility before it gets transferred to a landfill. I mean, these folks do this on a regular basis, and they're not afraid to get dirty to get your information. Now, I, of course, would never be an identity thief because I don't like getting into the garbage. Yeah, it's not my thing. But
I think there's several reasons, by the way, you're not an identity thief.
Yeah, there are many reasons. One of them is I don't like getting into the garbage.
And oftentimes when your identity is stolen, David, it takes months before it ever pops up anywhere. So people use your identity. They create different credit cards. They
How many of you throw away
licenses.
paycheck stubs after a certain amount of time? You know what's on there many times? Your social security number, your name, your address.
Your place of employment?
Yep.
All that information.
Never mind the amount of money you make, because that's on there as well. Usually there is a year-to-date amount of money you've earned and all that kind of thing. This is all information you don't want to fall into the wrong hands. Look at this. There's an old tax form.
Yep. Again, after 7 years, you can get rid of those tax forms, and most of us just hold on to it just out of habit because it becomes one of those things, I don't know what to do with all this. And then finally we're moving houses, or maybe we're, cleaning up for spring cleaning. You want to get rid of that information. Don't just tear it in half. Tear it in half does absolutely nothing. Tearing into quarters does absolutely nothing. So that's why you want to micro-cut all that information. Once you micro-cut it, an individual piece of paper is turning into over 1,000 different pulverized
So let's open this up and just show everybody again.
You can see in the window there, you get a good idea how much fill you have.
All right.
And there you go. That's what we've been doing throughout the course of this presentation.
This is how much we've shredded in the last probably,
10 minutes or so.
Yeah, 7-8 minutes. Look at this. Now, someone going to be able to piece that back together? Good luck.
There's credit card bits in there as well. So it's micro-cutting the credit cards, the store loyalty cards, all that information there. And you know what? This is great. You want to have a party with the kids and have some fun, you got your confetti. But the important thing is when you throw this into a bag now and put it out by the curb, the bad guys are going to walk right by this. They're not going to take thousands of pieces of paper and try to piece them back together in a giant puzzle. That puzzle is too hard to solve right there. And that's why micro-cut makes a difference. And Royal's a company that's been around for over 110 years. We know them for making amazing office machines. A lot of people learn typewriters.
Yep.
They learn to type on a Royal machine.
I learned to type on a Royal, yep. So this is what it's all about. Don't miss out on this opportunity. This is E231243. How many gone now, Dan? 700 of these are now gone. And I'll tell you, something like this is just straight peace of mind. And when you have this at home, and you're able to go take it right over to the, I plug mine in right by the trash can in the kitchen. I come in with the mail and I go through it one by one, right into the shredder. I don't even worry about opening it later because I know it's junk mail. And I know, and never mind all those political mailings we're getting and all that other business. I was going to say garbage. Yeah, garbage. Put it right in the shredder. Because you know what, even though the political information may not be sensitive, your name and address is still on there.
Yep. Anything,
and they probably got that off of voter registration records, right? Mm-hmm. So that's why you want to be able to shred this business, get it out of your life, out of your way, and send it to the curb where nobody can piece it back together. All it takes is for one little bit of sensitive information to get into the wrong hands, and it creates a world of problem.
Well, I made the comparison a little bit earlier in the presentation. Anything that you don't want to share online, think of it the same way in the real world. And we're getting more and more protective online with antivirus for our computers. We're concerned about people hacking. We hear about identity getting stolen all the time. This is the way they've been stealing identities for decades, where you get access to your information. So you have antivirus on your computer, you want to have a shredder in your real life, and that micro cut is the best way to go because over 1,000 different pieces is what you get from one piece of paper. So now you know, social security numbers, information about your kids, especially this time of year when you're signing them up for camps, for little leagues, you're signing them up for all kinds of after-school activities, all of that.
History?
Yep.
Do you want your medical history just floating around in the garbage or that of your children? I would also pose this question to you. How many of you would go on a week's vacation and leave every door and window unlocked and open in your house? None of us would do that, right? But you're doing the same thing if you're throwing away this sensitive information.